Hi guys, this is Heather of heatherlavonjensen.com, and I'm reading from the book When I Grow Up, I'm Gonna Have So Much Amnesia. Chapter 7, Could It Be Hate at First Sight? The countdown to my visit with the psychiatrist ticked to 0. To say I didn't want to meet the man would be an understatement. When I was a child, my mother brought me to one of her sessions and left the room so I could talk to her psychiatrist, or rather, so he could talk in my direction. It was hate at first sight. His eyes were calculating, and his gaze sharp. His body language didn't match his words. So naturally, I didn't trust him. He kept trying to win my confidence and trick me into revealing my secrets and my feelings. He kept trying to pry his way into my mind and my business, and I was furious. I never went back. So I walked into this new psychiatrist's office with my heart fluttering like a hummingbird, my nails bitten to the quick. Before I could even get in to see the doctor, the nurse put me through what felt like a miserable interrogation, asking nosy personal questions I did not want to answer and thought I had to answer. I hadn't yet learned it's okay to refuse to answer questions posed by authority figures. You can always choose to keep silent. She worked her way through all sorts of private and upsetting subjects and finally asked a whopper, "Were you ever sexually abused?" "Yes." "By whom?" "My father." "When? Where? How old? How often?" I lost my temper. I'd only just begun to figure out what happened, and I could barely say the words out loud, and she wanted me to rattle off my history like a character in a weekend special. My fierce one-word answers and glares set off her temper as well, and that did not help the situation. By the time I was allowed to see the doctor, I was in a foul mood. People lie, but their bodies don't. With booted feet propped on his desk and both hands behind his head, my new psychiatrist had chosen a pose that advertised casual relaxation and comfort, but his entire body was screaming tension. It was a lie. The man hadn't opened his mouth yet, and he was already lying to me. I hated him on sight. Poised on the edge of his overstuffed couch, like a nervous gazelle at a watering hole, I waited for the ambush. I knew the drill. First he'd chat with me and ask a few disarming questions. Then he'd hit me with zingers designed to trick me into blurting out my private truths. The new doctor didn't disappoint. "How are you? How about this weather we're having? Here you're having trouble with depression. What are your symptoms?" And then zing, "Let's talk about how your father sexually abused you." Oh, let's not, and say we did. I didn't so much smile as bare my teeth. Point, set, and match. The psychiatrist sighed and sat up in his chair. His easygoing ruse was abandoned. He rubbed the back of his neck with a chubby hand. Child abuse is endemic in Wyoming. When people come in my office, I don't ask if they were sexually abused as children. I ask them who did it. I could have done without that little fact. Knowing I was one of a huge group of injured former children only made me feel sorry for everyone and myself. To fill the silence, the doctor told me all about seasonal affective disorder, premenstrual dysphoric disorder, major depression, and PTSD, which he was certain I had. "But good news," he said, "you're not bipolar." Possibly this man is broken. Good, I said, wondering how long this info dump was going to take and wanting to cut to the chase. "So what am I supposed to do now?" "Antidepressant drugs will help. At least they'll help with everything except the PTSD. PTSD is an anxiety disorder created by traumatic experiences. It isn't a chemical imbalance like the others. It's a wound that results from an injury." That doesn't make sense. I dug at the stumps of my fingernails with my other fingernail stumps. I wished I was somewhere else. When a person's life is endangered by a natural disaster, a combat situation, or a violent crime, the emotions and memories involved can get stuck, the shrink explained. This makes you relive the events over and over again through recurring nightmares, general feelings of anxiety, phobias, flashbacks, and panic attacks. He looked at me expectantly, like it's your turn to contribute, so I did. "Then do I need anti-anxiety drugs or what? Because I'm still nursing my baby, and I'm not sure that's safe for him." "You might think about weaning that baby." He glanced at my stubborn expression, read the refusal there, and looked away. "Anti-anxiety drugs can help PTSD, but the traditional treatment includes both prescription drugs and years of intensive therapy. I glared at him. I do not have time for that. I have 3 kids. I have a husband. I have a home business. I cannot fit therapy into my schedule. The psychiatrist laughed. PTSD is like having a baby. You can be smart and help it along, or you can be stubborn and slow it down, but you can't stop it. Catching my wince, he added, there is a new drug-free treatment available. I'm all ears. It's called EMDR. It could shrink your recovery time from years to months. It helps the brain heal itself by enhancing connections between the right and left brain, he said. Uh-huh. Sounds like black magic to me. Still, my college neurobiology classes had taught me that our current understanding of the biology of the brain was so limited that the only answer for many questions was black magic. What does Rickard's solution do that keeps neural cells alive? Well, that's black magic. What motivates the mitochondria in our cells to produce the energy that keeps us alive? Well, that's black magic. Maybe EMDR was black magic. That didn't mean it wouldn't work. The psychiatrist rumbled through a cluttered desk drawer, pulled out a yellow sticky note and a pen, and started scribbling. I think it would be easier for you to talk to a female therapist. These therapists specialize in PTSD. They're very good, especially the first 2. He handed me the note and said, I can diagnose you with PTSD. I can give you anti-anxiety medication, but until you work through the trauma and talk to someone about it, you aren't going to feel any better. His list of PTSD specialists clutched in my hand. I stood to leave. Hey, he said, you might need to call a few of them before you find someone you can work with. Don't give up, and don't let anybody intimidate you, okay? The truth is, the only difference between us and the crazies is who gets to keep the keys. Okay, maybe I don't hate him after all. Thanks, everybody. Remember, if you want to read ahead, down below in the description, you'll find a coupon code for 50% off the ebook at my website, www.heatherlevonjensen.com. Take care.